In many villages, there is a belief that some children are not born, they are given, and anything that is given can be taken back. Amaka had waited years for a child, years of prayers, years of herbs, years of silent tears that no one saw. In her village, a woman without a child was not just pitied, she was watched. Whispers followed her everywhere. She must have offended the spirits. Maybe her womb is cursed. But Amaka refused to believe that. Every night she would sit outside her hut, staring into the dark forest beyond the village, the forest no one entered after sunset, because everyone knew that forest did not belong to humans. One evening, as the sun died slowly behind the trees, an old woman appeared at Amaka's door. No one saw where she came from, no footsteps, no voice calling, just there. Her back was bent, her eyes were too bright, and her smile lingered too long. "I heard your cries," the old woman said. Amaka's heart pounded. "Who are you?" The woman stepped closer. "I can give you a child." The air suddenly felt heavy. Amaka should have shut the door. She should have screamed for help. But desperation is a dangerous thing. "What must I do?" she whispered. The old woman smiled wider. "Go into the forest at midnight. Walk until you hear a baby crying. Do not speak. Do not look back. Carry the child home." She paused. "And no matter what happens, never let the child return to the forest." That night, Amaka did not sleep. At exactly midnight, she stepped into the forest. The darkness swallowed her whole. No crickets, no wind, just silence so deep it pressed against her ears. Then she heard it, a baby crying, soft at first, then louder, closer. Amaka's legs trembled, but she kept walking. The cries led her to a clearing, and there, lying on the ground, was a baby boy, alone, uncovered, crying into the darkness. Amaka rushed forward and picked him up. The moment she touched him, the crying stopped. Relief flooded her chest. She turned to leave. Crack! A twig snapped behind her. Her breath froze. She remembered the warning, "Do not look back." But then she heard it. Voices, whispering, "Leave him. He is not yours. You cannot take what belongs to us." The baby in her arms suddenly felt heavier. Amaka squeezed her eyes shut and ran. Branches scratched her skin. The whispers grew louder, angrier. Something moved behind her, fast, too fast, but she did not look back. She did not stop until she burst out of the forest and into the safety of her village. From that night, everything changed. Amaka finally had a child. She named him Chike. And at first, everything seemed normal. He laughed, he crawled, he called her Mama. The villagers celebrated with her. But slowly, things began to feel wrong. Chike never cried at night, not once. Instead, he watched. He would sit in the darkness, eyes wide open, staring into corners where nothing existed. Sometimes he would smile at nothing. As he grew older, the animals began to avoid him. Dogs whimpered when he passed. Goats broke their ropes to escape. Even the village elders refused to touch him. "There is something inside that child," one of them whispered. But Amaka refused to listen. "This is my son. I prayed for him." Then came the first disappearance. A young girl from the village vanished without a trace. No screams, no struggle, just gone.
That same night, Amaka woke up to a sound, soft chewing. She sat up slowly, and there, in the corner of the hut, was Chike, eating in the dark. "Chike!" she called. He stopped. Slowly, he turned. His mouth was stained.
"What are you eating?" she whispered. He smiled. "I was hungry, Mama." The next morning, the village found blood near the forest, and footprints, small ones, leading in, but never coming out. Fear spread quickly. More people began to disappear, and every time, Chike would be quieter, calmer, happier. One night, Amaka decided to follow him. She pretended to sleep and waited. At midnight, Chike stood up, silently, and walked out of the hut. Amaka followed, step by step, heart pounding, until he reached the forest. The moment he stepped inside, the air changed. The trees seemed to breathe. The darkness thickened. And then, voices, the same whispers. "Return him. He was never yours." Chike stopped walking. Slowly, he turned to Amaka. But this time, his eyes were not human. They glowed, faintly. "You should not have followed me, Mama," he said. His voice was deeper, older, wrong. Amaka's body trembled. "What are you?" she whispered. Chike tilted his head. "I am what you asked for." The forest suddenly came alive. Shadows moved between the trees, watching, waiting. "You took me from them," he continued softly, "and now they want me back." Amaka shook her head. "No, you are my son." Chike smiled, a slow, unnatural smile. "I was never your son." The whispers grew louder. The trees creaked. Something was coming closer. "You broke the rule, Mama," Chike said. "You came back." And then he stepped backwards into the darkness. The shadows swallowed him whole. Amaka ran forward screaming his name, but there was nothing there. No footprints, no sound, just silence. The next morning, Amaka was found at the edge of the forest, alone, crying, her child gone. But some say, on certain nights, when the wind is still, you can hear a child laughing from deep within the forest. And if you listen closely, you will hear a woman's voice whispering, "Give him back." Because in that village, they now know the truth. Some children are not born, they are borrowed, and the spirits always come to collect.